a bit spooky. I'm not going to say it wasn't built by giants, because it could have been. I didn't break in. This was just open. I'm probably working out how to get out of this gorge, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Alright, I'm in the town of Rabat, and I am searching for some catacombs along some very windy, narrow streets. Catacombs feel like such a morbid place to visit when you think about it, but you can have a picnic, so it can't be that bad. It says that some people thought that giants had made the catacombs, but then they pointed out that the giant couldn't get in the catacombs. Good point. How do I get into the catacombs? That's the question. Watch out for pagans. They're everywhere. Largest catacombs in Malta. 420 burials. I'm ducking a lot, but I think I can just about stand. It's a bit spooky. Where are all the bodies now? That's a question. You know, hundreds of bodies down here. Where are they all now? Must have all been moved. You might not think it, but those circular tables in there were for people to come down and eat a meal. A funeral rites meal with the dead. So this whole complex is St. Paul's Catacombs. It's in the little town of Rabat, which is next to the old capital city of Malta, Medina, or Medina. And that's why it's here, because during the Roman times you weren't allowed to bury the dead in the town. So they all had to come, 10 minutes down the road to be buried in catacombs here, and they've been used ever since by pagans, Christians, the Jewish. There's burials, there's Punic burials here, there's burials from all of Malta's history, really. And that's the thing, underneath Malta, because it's such a small island with such a lot of history, they keep on doing construction work, and they found a new load of catacombs underneath a roundabout when they were digging up the roads near the airport. Digging and construction must be a nightmare here, because with second you lay foundations, you could very easily come across a catacomb, but also possibly treasure. Ritualistic, important, culturally sensitive treasure that needs to belong in a museum if people find out about it. Yeah, he just goes to the dump every day and slings in another bag of bones. I don't know where he's getting them. Rabat's a bustling little town. They've got a lot of love for St. Paul in Malta. After we had escaped, we then learned that the island was called Malta, and the natives showed us unusual kindness. What is happening in all this imagery though? A lot of people on fire, it looks like. Today is meant to be the only rain I'm going to experience, but I have a strong feeling I'm going to experience it, and you're going to experience it too, because you're here with me. I'm trying to find Medina Old Town, which shouldn't be too hard to find. It's on a big hill. It's a fortified town. I keep on getting turned around because I see these little side streets. How can you not want to walk down? That was very blue about 25 minutes ago. I'm ruining multiple people's photographs right now. So that relief of the three people above the gate is meant to be a thing that happened during the siege of Malta. I think it was 1429, and the big vision of St. Paul on a white horse dissuaded the oncoming army from coming into Medina. I mean, if I saw a giant white horse, that would definitely dissuade me from coming in, especially if it was an astral vision. I might be thinking, why are there cars driving around such an old little town like this? There's no roads really, just little pathways. There's certainly a lot of cars going around. Around 250 people still live in the fortified area of the town. What a surreal place to call home. Everyone's here trying to get a photograph of themselves down one of the side streets where there's no one there, to make it look like this is a peaceful and calm experience. But it isn't. There's loads of tour groups, there's loads of people. But you want the photograph, don't you? Hold on, I'll do it right now. Do I look like I'm alone in this town? I'm not. I guess this must be where to get the best pictures of the view is. Let's investigate. This town's quite charming, really. Okay, where's this weird tree? That's what everyone really wants to see. How the hell do you get out of this Phoenician death trap? I'm lost. Certainly feels like an exit. Huzzah! This is not the main exit. No grand gate coming out the back door, eh? I'm pretty sure I'm just in the moat now. Oh yeah! This is much more my speed. No footpath. Raining. Kinda don't know where I'm going. Perfect. This is what we want from a Yesland video. Apparently, you'll know it when you get there. But nowhere tells you it's a bloody death trap to get to. You see? A weird tree. That's what we want, isn't it? I deliver on things like this. Apparently this tree was struck by lightning. No one really knows when. And now it looks like Jesus on the cross. Does it? Does it to you? But I think I've got an open mind enough to believe that. Why not? A private revelation from the heavens. If you see meaning in something and you get something from it, what does it matter? You know? You see something, you go, that's a sign, that means this, that I should go and off on an adventure, I should quit my job. Normally, if you see that type of thing in the mundane, it's your subconscious, isn't it, speaking to you, saying, you really want to quit your job, you should go and do that. I just needed some excuse to do it, you know? It's called the Jesus Tree of Malta, by the way. If people could come there and feel something and get something from it, why not, I say? I'm beginning to think that this bus probably isn't coming. 20 minutes late? That's late enough for you to walk on, isn't it? That's late enough to give up on a bus. Alright, let's give up on this bus. Guaranteed to go past me as I walk, isn't it? I'm making an executive decision. I'm walking. Can't help but notice a profound lack of pavements, which isn't filling me with good feelings. I can tell you that much. I won't sugarcoat this morning. It's been a bit of a... unlike these delicious biscuits I'm now enjoying. This morning has been a bit of a farce, but let's not complain. I'm hiking around Malta. What could be better? The aim of the day is to somehow find my way onto a trail that grows right across the width of Malta. Now, that is only 12 kilometres, but it's called the Victoria Line, and it was built by the British as a defensive way to protect the south part of the island from people invading the north side and coming down. It was immediately defunct. The second they'd finished laying the last stone, pointless, never used. Barely, they just went and did military expeditions there and stuff and training. There's meant to be a bunch of cool sights, hopefully, to see as you walk down the line. So let's try and find the start. I really feel finding the start is going to be a big key to success for today. I think I might be slightly turned around. I'm not lost. I'm just slightly turned around. On the plus side though, haven't seen any buses. So that means that we made the right decision to just start walking. All right, this is Nador Tower, which means I'm close to the Victoria Lines. But it would be a shame not to investigate this tower. Surely you can't... Holy crap, finally something I can get in. I didn't break in, this was just open. Wow, can I see the Victoria lines from here? Who knows? I'm not going to say it, but you know what I'm thinking. Probably buried treasure around here. Let's be real. Tell you what, getting down was a bit more precarious than getting up. Okay. Onwards and upwards. Let's find this place. I will say though, if all else fails today, which it won't, but if it did, it's just nice to be out of the traffic. Malta is a gorgeous country with a lot to offer, but it is one massive traffic jam. Well, that's a good sign, isn't it? That means possibly this exists, and not only does it exist, but I, Matthew, have found it. I have fallen over a lot recently. I'm not ashamed to admit it. This section's called the Great Wall of Malta. You can kind of realise why. I'm just happy I found it. There's meant to be some caves around here. Some troglodyte caves. Feels a bit strange saying the word troglodyte. But I think that's just the technical term for people who live in caves, trying not to die. Hard to imagine what life would have been like living in some caves on a hillside like this. Feels good to be on the right path. Perhaps not in life, but today. All you gotta do is keep pushing forward, no matter what. That's what I've learned. Should just be a matter of following this path now all the way to the top of the world, which I think might be the highest point in Malta, or at least one of the best views in Malta. But I do know that that is about 4.5 hours away. This feels very unsafe. Came across this weird looking building. I thought, that's not a house. So what is it? There's catacombs inside. There's so many hidden passages underneath Malta. Apparently in Valletta as well, they keep on finding more and more hidden tunnels that were used during the siege of Malta, tunnels that were used again in World War II because Malta was bombed to oblivion. Finally, I'm back on a path that feels like it's the Victoria lines again. I guess because I've gone from the very east to the very west of Malta, I really would have gone alone across Malta. That's pretty satisfying. Even if it's like 10 miles. It's the 10th smallest country in the world. So they tell me.
Okay, God bless, love you.
Love you, bye. Well, you can't say no to a phone call from your mum. Just making sure I'm safe. You know? And I am safe. If not 100% sure where the trail goes from here. Apparently that's a dog training academy for the police. It's got to be this way, right? But it's not that way. So many old, just completely disused buildings. Is this the route? I don't want the gendarmes to come and get me. There's a big cave underneath this fort. How could we not explore? Whoa. They certainly look like they could have been catacombs. Or maybe just a cave they dug out underneath. I think we're beginning to run out of uphill, which makes me feel like maybe we're almost there. Now this is a really cool section. Definitely Great Wall-esque. I'm probably working out how to get out of this gorge, but I'm sure it'll be fine. This has been the coolest bit so far. If not the steepest, but it's still the coolest. Oh God. Made it. From here the trail just meanders into town and to the coast. So this is the highest point at the end of the trail. The top of the world is meant to be called. There's a drink here. Apparently it's the favourite soft drink in Malta. It's called Kinny. And it's a bitter-sweet refreshment. It's a Mediterranean classic, according to the bottle. I read up on Kinny, and the guy who made it needed to make sure it was legally distinct to Coca-Cola. It definitely smells not like Coca-Cola. Wow. That is aromatic. Have you ever drank a Negroni? A cocktail made from Campari, vermouth and gin? This tastes almost exactly like a Negroni. Now a Negroni is my favourite cocktail. So I really like this, but it's so bitter. My mouth's drier for having drank it. Oh, that is an acquired taste. This is going to be divisive. It's wild to me that someone would make this in 1952 and taste it and go, yeah, that'll sell on the mass market. Because this does not taste like, I really like this, right? I think this is great. It's really bitter, it's sweet, it's a tiny bit like it's orange peel, but just like the zest, the orange peel of an orange. The bit that tastes like this, you know? But who would make this and think, yeah, this is going to be a staple? Like, I'm not going to recommend you get this unless you like bitter sweet. I mean, it is bitter sweet refreshment. They're not lying. I guess it's time to come down from the top of the world, although that is higher, right? Wouldn't that be? Anyway, let's not get too far into that. I'm going to come down off this hill and find a bus home. I've enjoyed this. Thanks so much for coming with me. Thank you. I'll be honest with you, I'm just following the crowd. I've got no idea where I'm going. Everyone started walking, so I started walking. So today I've travelled north all the way to the port of Kirkewa to get this ferry to Gozo, which is the second biggest Maltese island. I am rather hoping I'm on the right ferry. There are other ferries to other places apparently. I just followed the crowd, so surely I'm on the right ferry. €5 to go to Gozo. Who could say no? Also, there's a film crew here. with a bigger camera than my camera, and there's 3 of them. Always a good ferry crossing when I don't throw up. I don't do good on the water. I feel like I've stumbled into a very... What is happening? Oh, now carry me to Bethlehem. Daily life in Bethlehem. It turns out on Gozo, just up from the ferry port, there's a recreation of the town of Bethlehem as it would have been in the time of Jesus' birth. It kind of looks like the Old West part of Disneyland Paris. I'm expecting there to be like a stunt show where people get shot and fall into the dust. I'm wondering if I come back here later, this will be bustling. Bustling like a real ancient town. Apparently they do nativity plays here, and they celebrate it, and they've got like 150 actors that come here. Like a Christmas market, but... well, like a Christmas market, really, I suppose. It all started, this hasn't been here that long, it all started with, there was a guy called Franco, I think, and he liked making cribs. And I guess that kind of escalated somewhat, as do many passions. You start off making cribs, then you're making a reconstruction of an entire town. Why not, I say. That's a good spot. I found a cat that's not terrified. Good boy. I'm currently walking up to one of the oldest megalithic sites in the whole world. Happens to be on Malta. The site I'm going to is over 5,000 years old, and apparently built by giants. Now, I'm not going to say it wasn't built by giants, because it could have been. There absolutely are buses on Gozo. But you know, it's a beautiful day. Might as well walk. It's an hour from the ferry terminal to where we're going. And look at this beautiful scenery. I'll get the bus back, let's be real. But I'm walking there. I'm desperate for a wee. I will be honest. Thank God for that alley in particular. That was almost an emergency. So this is Gigantia, I think, Archaeological Park. Gigantia does sound a lot like giant, and I think it's from the Maltese word for giant, because these temples are so old and so big that people just thought they were built by giants. The largest stones here are 50 tons. I would say 50,000 tons. This isn't pyramids on Mars. 5,500 years old. Apparently it's astronomically aligned. I mean, I live in Britain. We've got some old stuff, but it's the first time I've ever been in a 5,500 year old building. And you can understand why people who came afterwards were like, giants, I guess, must have been giants. Because, well, it must have been giants, you know? Maybe I'm on the lookout for high technology drill marks. You don't know that I'm not. Or that I am. Possible. Think of the effort that would have had to have gone in to place these trilithon rocks and to build this whole place. I mean, they always say it's for ritual, it's a temple. Well, maybe it was just to live in. No one really knows. They found a lot of artifacts here. But wow. This must have been a very foreboding place for any passers-by. You know, you're sailing past this island and you see something from the shore that's this big. You probably think, nah, best not go there. Definitely giants. I always like to think of the people who built this, the effort and the work that would have had to have gone into it, and how that afterwards people didn't know how to recreate this. So how do they do it? You know? Manpower? It's a lot of determination. You have to really want to do this 5,500 years ago. I think people have been walking around here, living here. Life has been here, human life, all those years ago. I mean, if you've only ever seen wooden structures and huts, this would blow your mind, right? I do like the quiet life here on Gozo, I have to say. It's nice, it's much calmer, it's peaceful, but the buses aren't very regular. So it was either wait for a bus and the journey takes an hour, or walk and the journey takes 49 minutes. So, as long as the bus doesn't go past me, I win. That's the way I see it. Bishop's got his own parking space. Must be nice. This is the Citadel, the highest point of Victoria, which I think is the capital of Gozo. It's been here since... It's very ominous, isn't it? It's been here since the Stone Age, definitely the Bronze Age, they know that for sure. This whole area would have been the Acropolis during the Roman period and the Punic era. And then they changed it and they built a medieval castle here. The Order of St. John used to use this when the islands were given over to them as a place to maybe escape the Ottoman Empire. I'm guessing it's midday. But what a view. It's a bit bloody precarious, isn't it? You don't want to fall off. From what I've read about this place, whilst very impressive, terrible at being successful as far as withholding against invaders. But I suppose you could see them coming, which means you could skedaddle. This is some old graffiti. Look at these. Maybe that was actually 1887. Like a boat, maybe? 1885. Well, this has been done with a chisel. Someone's been up here doing this professionally, 1856. J. Harris. Parts of the Citadel were used as an old prison. Maybe some of the inmates came out and did some graffiti when they had a chance. Something to do. Our hands are exactly the same size. It's funny. After a certain date, the graffiti itself is part of the history. So it's okay. You gotta go to the ditch. You haven't been? Come on. The ditch is the best bit. I have one more stop for today. You might be thinking, where the hell am I? Well, yeah. The 1980s flop Popeye movie starring Robin Williams was filmed in Malta. Right here. The set for the movie was abandoned after it was finished filming. So locals decided to turn it into a theme park, I guess. For a while I think it was just an abandoned village, but now it's very much alive and kicking. Action! It's Popeye. I mean, honestly, it's pretty cool. But it's funny that all this is around a movie that no one really liked. But why not, if you can? What else are they going to do? Just leave it? Small wages, bitter cold, constant danger, return home highly doubtful, honour and recognition. In case of success, you get paid. It's everyone's favourite character. The dentist. We remember. I don't know what it is. I haven't really stopped smiling since I got here. There's something incredibly charming about this. I could go for a 5-cent cigar. It's kind of like a living museum, right? But to something that happened in the 80s. Everyone kind of forgot about. They certainly filmed it in a beautiful place though. I don't know, there's just something very charming about this place. I guess they just had to renovate the place rather than build it from scratch because the movie producers built it, they just left it.
I will because he needs me.
That's how it's done. Nailed it. I can't say no to some mini golf. It's free. Well, it's with the price of admission. Now you gotta ask yourself, was that the power of editing? Or did I get it in? I'll never tell. You get free popcorn. Could be worse. What a place that exists! How could you come to Malta and not go to Popeye's Village? You'd be crazy. I'm sorry for waking you up. It's my final day here in Malta, so I thought it was finally time to head into Valletta and at least have a little look at the town centre, the city centre, the heart, the capital. But en route for me was a little stop off at Manole Island, which I kind of don't even know what this is. I suppose because Valletta is surrounded by all these different fortifications, Manole Island also had loads of fortifications built up because it's the main port into Malta. So while it seems to be getting used as essentially like a park, there's people walking their dogs, there's also all these huge old fortifications here. I mean, this is a giant 18th century star fort built by the Order of St. John. It's awesome. It's closed. If there's anything I've discovered about Malta, it's that you can't walk 10 minutes without discovering something cool from history. I mean, it's such a small place that's been occupied for such a long time. It's just, well, it's a bit of a dream really for me. So I love that stuff. You know, I'm kind of surprised it hasn't all been built on, but there's so many old abandoned buildings on it that you just tear them all down and prime real estate to build some more hotels. Well, my foot's wet. The whole island's just kind of a anomaly. I guess the real idea is that this is a prime fishing spot. Hello? Come to film the documentary. Bet they'd let Michael Palin in, wouldn't they? Well, one day. Thought I was taking a little bit of a shortcut up into the actual town, but because the whole bloody place is a fortification, every time you take a shortcut you're met with an actual fortification. This isn't a shortcut. I feel like the only way this is a shortcut is if I scale some walls and storm the barricade. How the hell do I get into town? Oh, I'll just walk. I won't get the bus. There's even a ferry from where I'm staying. Nah. I feel like that gate signifies something official at least, so I'm gonna guess this is correct. To begin with, it looks like there might have been some giant temple here, some huge mega structure, and that all these are pillars that would reach into the air. But that's not what this is. These are apparently the caps of granaries, because the Knights of St. John, the Order of St. John, those Catholic knights who have been about on Malta, built them here so there'd be a huge storage of grain in case there was ever a siege. Now there was a siege, multiple sieges. In fact, The British reused these very granaries during World War II when Malta was sieged again. They were really lucky they were here. I don't know what I was expecting from Valletta, but it wasn't this. Monuments and statues and grand buildings. I thought it was going to be more like a capital city, which I hate. But this is lovely. Alright, I'll admit it. My general hate for capital cities. You could do a lot worse than walking around Valletta for a couple hours. It really is quite lovely. And it doesn't hurt that every now and again it feels a little bit like home. There's something awfully British every now and again. In case of boom, go to the boom defence. That makes sense, I suppose. I mean, it's probably just a drainage pipe. What's in this tunnel? That's what I want to know. I'm just wandering around the outside of Valletta, the main fort now. It's cool. I have to be honest, I'm having more fun walking outside the perimeter of Valletta through all these old fortifications than I kind of was inside town. Well, there goes my idea for an outro on the ferry. That's it from Malta. Thank you so much for joining me on this journey. What an interesting little country. Really, so much to see. I've had a great time and I hope you have too. Thank you so much for being here. I just appreciate that absolutely immensely. There's a lot more videos on the channel. Until next time, everyone, be kind to yourself and of course, onwards and upwards, which I'm now taking very literally.